Hey everybody, Sean here from VidGamiac.com, and welcome back to another episode of VidGamiac vs. Imports. Today we are back in Deathmark, covering chapter number 2 today. So, last time we left off, we were at the mansion. Usually at the start of these chapters, the mansion scenes are going to basically be basic exposition for the rest of the chapter. So, in these cases, you can pick whatever choices you want to. So, just pick whatever choices you want to until you get back to the lobby of the mansion. Alright, right after the title card, we should have been introduced to our partner for this chapter. There's going to be a little more exposition. There's going to be one choice you have to make. Once you get back to the mansion menu, make sure you make a save. If you are going to make that save, make sure you save it over slot number 2. Remember to keep these saves in order because we will be referring back to them in a post-game playthrough in order to wrap up some achievements. So very important that you're making the saves in the right spot and you're not losing old saves. So when you're ready to leave, which one do you want to head over to partner? Make sure you pick the first person as your partner. So this guy. So generic Japanese detective man. And then once you pick him, make sure you head to exit and then make sure you head over to the garage. And then we are going to pick the second location, which is going to be the forest or the woods. Alright, once you get to the location, what you want to do is you want to first search this picnic table. You can do this as soon as you get control of your character. Make sure you examine and search it, and then you should pick up an old talisman, which should give us a little health boost. Then you want to head forward into the woods. Then after a little talking, you are going to have control of your character again. Examine this signpost right here, and that's going to trigger the first fight of the chapter. It's going to be a deadly choice fight, so make sure you get your choice picking ready. Choices are going to be 2, 3, 3, so punch them in that order as quick as possible to avoid losing some health. Once you wrap up the fight, what you want to do is you want to head forward. You should be now in front of a cabin. After a lot of talking, interact with the door and then just head into the cabin. There's going to be more talking once you get inside. It's going to be a while until you can get control of your character. Just get through it. There's some plot stuff. Some spooky stuff happens too, so you can take that in if you want. Once you get control of your character again, make sure you search these jars on the shelf. You should get something called Goodnight Family Liquid. I think it's like cough syrup or something like that, but it's very important for later on. Also, make sure you grab these two books right here. Whenever you grab something like a piece of text, it's going to give you this choice. It's always going to be a yes or no prompt, so just pick the top one for yes. I don't have to point that out to you. It's basic video game logic. And then once you're done here, you can leave the cabin. Just make sure you head back twice, and then once you get back on the main road, just head forward twice. Basically back, forward, and that should put you next to where you need to get going. Alright, once you get back onto the main path, you are going to see this handprint on this tree. Examine it for another talisman. Very good health boost right there, especially if you took a lot of damage in that last fight. Then you want to keep heading forward until you hit a dead end. The last screen should have like a box on it, so make sure you just keep going straight. Don't do any turns. You should hit the dead end and then find this box right here. Make sure you examine and search the box, and inside should be a crowbar. So grab that, and then we are going to turn around and then head back the way we came. So just hit back. That should turn you 180 degrees around. Once you're here, make sure you examine this signpost, and what do you know, we have yet another deadly choice fight. So once again, options are going to be on the screen. Make sure you pick them in the right order, and make sure you do them as quick as possible to avoid taking as much damage as you can. After surviving that ordeal, we have a lot of navigation to do, but the side path should have opened it to us. So we are going to head forward 3 times. We are basically going towards the beginning since we need to grab a very specific item. Once you get to here, you want to turn, so turn right, and that should take us away from the entrance, and then head back down this path. Keep going forward until you get back to the cabin. Now that we have the crowbar, we can use it on this box right here. So make sure you examine the toolbox on the shelf, and then you want to use the crowbar. Item translations will be provided to you on the bottom of the screen, so make sure you look at this. It should be the one that's 3 Japanese characters. Use that, open up the thing, and that should give you a sprayer, kind of like weed killer or like bug spray or something like that. You're going to need this later on because, you know, visual novel point and click stuff. All right, make sure you leave the cabin, and then you want to backtrack to the main path. So once you get back onto the main path, you make sure you are facing up, and then you want to keep heading north until you get to a second turn. It's that other left turn off the main road that we avoided earlier. Now that we have everything we need, we can head over here. Turn left to head further down into the forest. You will notice a beehive once you turn. You need to use the Goodnight Family Liquid thing. Once again, translation is going to be at the bottom. It's going to be this item in your inventory. It's a pretty long set of Japanese characters. I think it's 6 characters, and it should have a number next to it. Once you clear the beehive, all you have to do is just hit up to go forward. There is a ton of talking. You're going to meet the ominous dark bunny from earlier, and some stuff's going to happen. Alright, once you get control of your character, you should be at this intersection right here. Make sure you head left, so you're going down, so basically you're turning left to go down. You should be in front of a second cabin. Interact with these statues on the bottom and examine them. That should give you another talisman, which will give you a health boost. The door to the cabin is locked, so we are going to have to use our crowbar in order to bust it open. Unfortunately, this is going to damage our crowbar, so the crowbar just becomes a bent crowbar. Doesn't really matter. Once you get it open, just head on inside and you're going to have a ton of story right here. You are going to meet the next character in your journey, who's this news anchor lady. So make sure you just skip through her dialogue and she should come with you back to the mansion and you'll have yet another party member. So once you get control of your character and you are outside of the cabin, you have to backtrack all the way to the entrance. You have to do this without making a mistake, because if you deviate from the path that you are supposed to go, you will get a game over. So make sure you follow this exact path. It's going to be down, right, up, down, up, up, and that should get you back to the entrance all in one piece. There's going to be talking between every screen. Just skip past it since it's not important, because probably you can't read Japanese. I'm pretty sure it's just the characters bickering on where to go. Just make sure you follow the instructions I have laid out and you should be able to make it back to the entrance, and then we're going to hightail it back to the mansion, where we are going to take a little intermission, switch out our characters, make any saves and all that stuff, and be good for our second trip to the woods. Once you get back to the mansion, it is going to have some more exposition that it's going to throw your way. Any choice when they ask you the first choice, and then make sure you make that save once you get back to the lobby. Once you're ready to leave, make sure you switch out your partner. You want to switch out to that news anchor lady we found in the woods, so make sure you pick her. Then we are going to head to exit, which should take us to the garage, and then, of course, pick location number 2 to go back to the woods. One short car ride later, we are going to now proceed to where we need to get going now that we have everything in order. At the entrance, what you want to do is you want to examine this picnic table off to the left. Over here should be some honey. Then you also want to examine the trash bin to your right. You get an empty bottle, which you need for later on in the chapter. You also get another piece of text, so just make sure you pick those two up, and then we should be good. Once you're ready, we are going to start heading over to the second cabin from earlier. Once inside, you want to examine the box on the right. Make sure you search it, and you should get another note text thing. And then you also want to search the bottles on the shelf on the left to get 3 more bottles of that Good Night family liquid stuff. That's very important, especially to this chapter. So I assume that this cough syrup-like substance also kills insects. So grab all those, and then it's time to leave. So double back and then forward to get back onto the main trail. Once you get to this screen with the beehive, interact with the beehive and then hit it with that Good Night family liquid to knock it out, doing some bee extermination in the woods while we're at it. And this should trigger the next part of the story we need to get to, so knock it out of the way, and then it's back to our adventures in the woods. So after you take that out, we are going to head forward twice, and then we're going to hit a dead end with some spooky things happening. Examine the dead bodies, and that should trigger another kind of fight. So it's going to be another deadly choice fight. Choices are going to be 2, 1, 3. Make sure you punch those in the right order and as quick as possible. Avoid taking too much damage because the boss fight is coming up sooner rather than later. Once you get control of your character, there are 2 things that you need to grab here. First off, examine the dead bodies for a key. It's going to trigger a pretty long cutscene, so try your best to get through it. But once you get control of your character, again, for the second time in this scene, you want to examine the leftmost box. Inside is going to be a bottle called the Dream of Family or something like that. I'm pretty sure it's some other kind of medicine that has some Japanese association with it, but whatever the case, just grab it. It's in our inventory item. Doesn't really matter. Everything is just vague Japanese characters anyways. But once you're ready to leave, make sure you leave by heading back and then to the left. All right, you are going to be at a seemingly dead end. What you have to do is you have to examine this bush right here, and then if you happen to bring that news reporter lady with you, her super special awesome ability is going to bring up a choice field. Pick choice number 2, and that should move the bushes out of the way, allowing you to head further into the woods. So it's going to open up this secret path, and after a lot of talking and explaining how that all that stuff works, pretty much, you are going to end up at this new cabin. So that key we picked up from the dead bodies is going to allow us to go inside. It's going to be automatic, so don't worry about having to deal with the inventory. Once inside, we have a few things to grab in here. First thing you want to do is you want to get through the talking bits because it's annoying. Anyways, examine the box on the upper right shelf right here. Inside this thing is going to be a dried piece of root. Then you want to grab the notebook in the middle of the room, which is going to give us another note. Whenever you grab one of these note things, it's going to give you a choice field. Always pick the top choice for yes. And then you want to examine this large burlap sack. In here is going to be a tennis ball, another one of the Goodnight family bottles. There is going to be 3 of them in here, so make sure you grab all of those, and then we should be good enough to head on outside. So that's everything here. Get through the talking, lots and lots of talking, because visual novels are pretty talking heavy. And then we are back outside. You want to head all the way back to the main path, so head back twice, and then once you get back onto the main path, we are going to go forward twice, and then we are going to get to a place with a ton of beehives that need dealing with. So once you get to the beehives, you need to hit each one with a Goodnight family, so make sure you exterminate them. Make sure you use the appropriate Japanese symbols, and then just one by one, just take them out, and you should be good for getting past this screen. Once the path is clear of beehives, make sure you head forward twice. We are going to hit another dead end, which is actually the last area of the forest. It's going to be another set of dead bodies and this ominous box right here. Don't open up the box quite just yet. Instead, what you want to do is you want to interact with the body. You want to hit it with a Goodnight family, so make sure you try to find it in your inventory. Ton of stuff in your inventory, so try your best to get through this using the translations I've provided. And then once you use this on the dead body, you should get some stuff that you need. So in order to get this said stuff, you are going to have to use the empty bottle that we picked up earlier, and you want to use that to get some smelly fluid. So after getting the smelly fluid, it's okay to leave now. You want to head back. We're going to backtrack quite a ways. You want to go back to the area where we found our first box. So the directions are going to be down, up, right, up, left, up. So make sure you follow those, and that should get you to the first box. It should be in the upper right corner of the woods, so pretty much straight from where the entrance was. So as you can see right here, it's going to be a dead end in case you get lost or if you want to use the map to navigate. Once you are here, you want to interact with the bushes to your right. Because you have the news lady, she should use her bush destroying powers in order to get rid of this. Make sure you pick option number 2 in order to get rid of the bush, and then this will allow you to open up the box. So inside the box is going to be some mosquito repellent as well as another note. So of course, for some reason, you have to get rid of this bush in order to open up the box because video game reasons. After taking the stuff out of the box, you will finally be able to grab this plant to the right of it. You are going to have to use the bent crowbar for this, so make sure you interact with the plant, open up your inventory, use the crowbar, and that should pry it up and give you something called the grass roots, which we have 1 from earlier, but we have 2 now. So once you have that, that's going to actually wrap up our second trip to the woods, so we have to head back to the mansion, and the reason we are doing that is because we need to switch out characters. Because the news lady can only destroy bushes, really, she's not really good in a boss fight, we have to swap out to someone who is. Back at the mansion, what you want to do is you want to first swap out your partner. You want to pick partner number 1, aka generic Japanese detective man. Make a save if you want to. I highly recommend this because it will save you a ton of time when it comes to the ancillary playthroughs we have to do at the end of the achievement list. After that, head back to exit to go to the garage, location 2 to head back to the woods, and then we have to backtrack all the way to the last area of the woods. Quite extensive. Directions are going to be on the screen. Forward 3 times, turn left, forward, then right, forward again, turn left, and then forward twice to get to the last area, which is that box with the dead bodies that we didn't open earlier, because if we opened it too early, we would have messed things up. So make sure you head all the way back there. Go up to the box, and what you want to do is you want to interact with it using a Good Night Family liquid. That should allow you to open it, and then inside is going to be the Good Morning Family liquid. I guess it's like the difference between NyQuil and DayQuil. So you need this morning variant in order to fight the boss, which will appear once you pull it out of the box. So pull it out of the box and get ready for boss time. So it's going to work just like last time. You're going to have 5 rounds against this boss. You have to combine 2 items every round, and you have to get the items correct. Alright, just like any other boss fight in the game, it should be pretty easy if you remember to pick up all of the items. First round, you are combining the smelly fluid with the tennis ball. Round 2, the fluid with a baseball that we got earlier. Round 3, we're combining that Good Morning Family liquid we just pulled out of the box with a revolver that the news lady gave us during one of the cutscenes. Round 4, same thing. Good Morning Family liquid mixed with the revolver. And then finally, to round things off, round 5, combining that jar of honey with the grass root we pulled out from earlier, and that should finish up the boss. Easy peasy. After that good job, we are going to wrap up everything at the woods. Just make sure you skip all the scenes, and we are going to end up back at the mansion where we are going to have some stuff to do in order to close out the chapter. Closing statements, you are going to be talking to the characters, pick any choice, and then get to the mansion menu. You can make a save at this point. At this time, we are saving in slot 3, so that last save we made in slot 2 is our reference point for our second playthrough. So save in slot number 3, and then to finish the chapter, just like before, go to the talk option, and then just talk to the marionette lady, and she's going to ask you if you want to wrap up the chapter. Choice 1 to say yes, and then we should get chapter 3 rolling. But more importantly, once the game fades to black, you get your achievement. 15 gamer score for this one. Don't forget to check back soon for the next part, and that's all there is to it.